and the Air Force Falcons, and the Akron Zips, and the Crimson Tide in Alabama, and the Arizona State Sun Devils, and the Arizona Wildcats, and the Arkansas Razorbacks, and the Arkansas State Indians, and the Army Black Knights, and the Auburn Tigers, and the Ball State Cardinals, and the Baylor Bears, and the Boise State Broncos, and the Boston College Eagles, and the Bowling Green Falcons, and the Buffalo Bulls, and the BYU Cougars, and the Brigham Young Cougars, and the California Golden Bears, and the Central Michigan Chippewas, and the Cincinnati Bearcats, and the Clemson Tigers, and the Colorado Buffaloes, and the Colorado State Rams, and the Duke Blue Devils, and the Eastern Michigan Eagles, and the East Carolina Pirates, and the Florida Gators, and the Florida State Seminoles, and the Fresno State Bulldogs, and the Georgia Bulldogs, and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and the Hawaii Warriors, and the Houston Cougars, and the Idaho Vandals, and the Illinois Fighting Illini, and the Fighting Illini of Illinois, and the Indiana Hoosiers, and the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Iowa State Cyclones, and the Kansas Jayhawks, and the Kansas State Wildcats, and the Kent State Golden Flashes, and the Kentucky Wildcats, and the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, and the Cardinals of Louisville, and the LSU Tigers, and the Marshall Thundering Herd, and the Maryland Terrapins, and the Memphis Tigers, and the Miami Hurricanes, and the Miami Ohio Redhawks, and the Michigan Wolverines, and the Michigan State Spartans, and the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders, and the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and the Tigers of Missouri, and the Navy Midshipmen, and the North Carolina State Wolfpack, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the Nevada Wolfpack, and the New Mexico Lobos, and the New Mexico State Aggies, and the North Carolina Tar Heels, and the North Texas Mean Green, and the Northern Illinois Huskies, and the Northwestern Wildcats, and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and the Ohio Bobcats, and the Ohio State Buckeyes, and the Oklahoma Sooners, and the Oklahoma Sooners, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and the Ole Miss Rebels, and the Oregon Ducks, and the Oregon State Beavers, and the Penn State Nittany Lions, and the Pittsburgh Panthers, and the Purdue Boilermakers, and the Rice Owls, and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and the San Diego State Aztecs, and the San Jose State Spartans, and the SMU Mustangs, and the Gamecocks of South Carolina, and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, and the Stanford Cardinal, and the Syracuse Orangemen, and the TCU Horned Frogs, and the Temple Owls, and the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Texas Longhorns, and the Texas A&M Aggies, and the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and the Toledo Rockets, and the Troy State Trojans, and the Green Wave of Tulane, and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, the UAB Blazers, and the UAB Blazers, and the Central Florida Golden Knights, and the UCLA Bruins, the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders, and the Connecticut Huskies, and the Connecticut Huskies, and the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns, and the Louisiana Monroe Indians, and the UNLV Red Bulls, and the USC Trojans, and the South Florida Bulls, and the Running Utes of Utah, and the Utah State Aggies, and the Texas El Paso Miners, and the Vanderbilt Commodores, and the Virginia Cavaliers, and the Virginia Tech Hokies, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and the Washington Huskies, and the Cougars of Washington State, and the West Virginia Mountaineers, and the Western Michigan Broncos, and the Wisconsin Badgers, and the Wyoming Cowboys,